Grand Rising Beloveds. My name is Sheena with the Way of Namaste, and this is our community prayer circle. So the clock has just struck 11. As always, we're going to give it a few minutes to see if anybody wants to join us today. As we get settled into our space, let's go ahead and make this space a sacred space. One way that we can do that is burning some sage or some incense, which I've done here. Also, getting a cup of herbal tea or water or cacao or something to sip on. Today we have the sun in Pisces, which is a water sign, a highly sensitive to energies sign. And we have the moon in Scorpio, another water sign, another psychic, deeply feeling, intuitive, responsive to energies sign. So today, with there being double water, invitation to grab something to sip on, so that we can be infusing our water with our prayer today. So go ahead and get yourself cozy and comfortable in the space. Water is a living consciousness, and we have more and more information that shares about the power of the consciousness of water. So there is a profound power when we can bless our water before we are ingesting it. And so anytime we have our prayer circles, it's an amazing opportunity to bring something to sip on with you so that you actually consume the prayer. You actually digest it into your system and it becomes a part of you. So today, as I said, we've got double water today between the sun and the moon. Scorpio moon always brings us to the depths. It's a day of alchemy. It's a day of honoring our feelings, whichever ones come through us. So we're also in Gene Key 22 this week. And if you know anything about the gene keys, there are two specific gene keys that shape up what our humanity is going through. It's the 55, which is our evolution into freedom, and it's the 22, which is our involution from divinity into this human incarnation that we chose to come in here now. Most of us, many of us will go through a period of forgetting that we chose to be here now. And in that forgetting, we can often feel separate, we can feel isolated, we can feel disconnected, and we can play out a victim paradigm as though we hadn't made the choice to be here now. So this gift of graciousness this week is the gift that we can collectively navigate. It is the highest expression of grace, and it's the shadow of dishonor. So what Richard Rudd really shares about in this particular passage is that we dishonor ourselves when we don't trust in our ability to move through whatever emotion or obstacle we're facing. Right now, the world is noisy. There's a lot of programs that are running. There's a lot of things that make us doubt or question what is real, what is happening, what can we do about it, what is our responsibility right now. And I say that our sacred responsibility is noticing how we are accountable for our ability to respond. We can react to the situations that we see from the outside, and we can fall into that victim paradigm. We can be reactive and we can blame, we can shame, we can condemn, we can pass off the responsibility of acknowledging that if it's come into my field, it's come into my field because there's alchemy here. There's something for me to learn from here. And if I can trust that we live in a benevolent universe, then I can trust that whatever's been presented to me is the exact size that I am capable of overcoming. So there are going to be periods of time when we are navigating discomfort. It's part of being human. Right now, it can feel deeply uncomfortable to turn on the news. There are places in the world that are going through extreme flooding and weather events. There are places in the world that are going through extreme war and suffering events. And it can be easy as an interdependent human being to empathically absorb those things and take them on. But what graciousness invites us to do is to tune in to the living consciousness streams of everything around us and say, I choose not to hold this all by myself. I will have grace and I will say grace. I will pray for what's going on in the world, but I won't consume it. I won't be completely deflated by it, because what good can I be to humankind if I can't get out of bed because I'm too overwhelmed and too overstimulated by the things that are going on? So this gift of graciousness, it comes through small acts. It comes through the different ways that we choose to respond versus react. If someone is processing with us and they're venting with us, can we be the compassionate witness to someone's suffering when it's spilling over, instead of automatically personalizing it and thinking it's all about us? It can be part of that narcissism of the human ego to make things about us. But our invitation through the gift of graciousness is, can we say, their suffering is spilling over, and I will hold them in their highest timeline. That is creating the space for the grace without going down with the sinking ship with them. So with these calls, I like to start by pulling an oracle card and just seeing if there's a little spirit message that wants to come through for us. In the spirit of the Scorpio moon today, I've decided to pull from the Isis deck by Alana Fairchild. As always, at 11:11, we'll go into our silent portal and we will offer into this space our silent transmission. This can be receiving from the space. This can be giving to the space. This can be just tuning into, noticing if there's any discomfort in our body, noticing what happens when we fully immerse ourselves into silence for a minute. Some of us distract ourselves or numb ourselves out, that we don't allow ourselves to go there. So just by taking a sacred pause for just 60 seconds, we're going to allow ourselves to go there, to immerse ourselves into the silence. And then on the other side of that, we'll do a brief attunement, and we'll do a little meta prayer this week, which will be acknowledging the peace that's here and then emanating that peace out from us. So let's go ahead and see what Isis wants to share with us today. And it is soul retrieval, deep soul healing with the goddess. So let's see what it says. Soul retrieval, 157. Isis, healing goddess, now offers you spiritual restoration and deep soul healing through the art of soul retrieval, reclaiming pieces you lost through trauma, old and new. Soon you will enjoy greater wellness, energy, and power, as well as the opening of gifts and soul abilities you didn't even know that you had. This card brings a special message for healers. Sometimes in your deep work with others, your desire to be of service can drain you if you're not carefully cleansing your energy field. If you've pulled this card together with the Pyramid of Light or the Pillar of Light cards, then you're encouraged to do swift and thorough psychic and spiritual cleansing each evening and morning for the next several weeks until you feel more of yourself again. You'll notice the thoughts and feelings of others becoming less intrusive. This is unconditionally loving. Your clients will gain more strength in learning to feed their own energy field rather than feeding off yours, and you'll gain more strength in this process too. It can be hard work to change patterns of professional and energetic dependency, but it is worth the effort so that you do not become drained and unable to continue your path as a healer. This guidance applies equally to those that are not formal healers, but tend to attract those seeking guidance and support informally into their lives. So I'm just going to pull another card. And we did not receive one of those other cards. So that doesn't feel like we need to do that practice for a couple of weeks. But the other card is Spirit of Isis, Triumph of the Goddess. So I believe the most revolutionary act that we can do in these times of uncertainty, unprecedented times, is to pray. is to call on the energy of grace that always lives within us. So let's go ahead and just take a breath now as we get prepared to enter our sacred space of silence. Just perhaps taking the deepest breath that you've taken all day long, breathing in through the nose, and breathing out through the mouth. Maybe softening the gaze or closing them down. And just noticing what you notice when you turn inward. Notice if there's any discomfort in your body. Notice how you're feeling in this moment. And just going ahead and taking a couple more deep breaths in your own rhythm and time. Just becoming curious. As we meet our 1111 portal, we'll enter this sacred space of silence. Taking another deep breath in through the nose. And allowing something to soften, some kind of tension to be released on the exhale. For this attunement, you might like to keep your eyes gently softened or closed. And again, turning that attention inwards, just bringing more awareness to the spirit of air that moves through us. Today, as I mentioned, we are in a very watery portal. So we honor the spirit, the living consciousness of water. And perhaps today we allow ourselves to notice if after we infuse our beverage with water, if we can feel that prayer living inside of us, within the cells of our body. If you've ever made the time to gaze at fire, you might have felt the living consciousness stream of fire, watching it dance, watching it move, watching it have a life of its own. And it does, because it too is a living consciousness stream. If you've ever sat behind or by a tree, you might have felt the spirit of earth coming in through the living consciousness stream of the tree. Perhaps you're inundated with a story or memories, or maybe even sensations in the body. And this is what it is to become in right relationship with our elements, with the elemental allies that are here assisting us now. Today, we bring on the living consciousness stream of prayer through the living consciousness of air. We allow our word to become our wand. We recognize that our words are powerful. And today, as we ingest these words, we ingest the power of our prayer, of our intention, made physical, made visible. So if it feels in alignment, I invite you to go ahead and just breathe right into the heart space. And here, inviting in that breath to radiate this emerald ray from the heart chakra. You may like to see, sense, feel, or imagine it coming in from the back of your heart and shooting, beaming out like a Care Bear stare from the front of your heart. And here we're going to grow a unified field together that starts with unconditional love. If it feels in alignment, you might like to radiate that emerald ray out into our temple space for all beings who will receive these messages. You may begin to feel the emanation of my heart chakra as it enters the field of your heart chakra, braiding these emerald rays together and weaving together this tapestry of unconditional love. And on the next breath, in your own divine time, we'll breathe into the ajna, that space between the brows, this place of inner sight, the third eye. And here we'll actively open the third eye to allow any images, any memories, any sensations to come through this place where we see one another clearly, soul to soul. You may sense, feel, imagine, or perceive an indigo or amethyst ray coming into the third eye now. And just like we did with the emerald ray of unconditional love, we'll infuse this temple space of living infused intelligence from our soul light, from our ajna. And we'll emanate that out into the temple space. You may begin to feel, sense, perceive, or imagine the ajna from my amethyst ray as it connects with the amethyst ray of your ajna. And just braiding these colors together, creating, strengthening, building our unified field. And on the next breath, we'll go ahead and move into our halo, the crown chakra. And here we begin to feel, sense, perceive, or imagine a light emanating down through the celestial realms, through our crown chakra, and then filling our whole body with light. This light might be diamond in color. It might refract all the colors of the rainbow, or it might come in as a white or a golden light. Allow your imagination to perceive this light in whichever way it does. And just allow it to cascade all the way down through each of your chakras till it comes down through the soles of your feet. And then all the way down to the crystalline core of Pachamama. And feeling yourself now held in this vertical pillar of light, infused with this unconditional love and this living and infused wisdom. And here, as we are saturated in this loving light, we thank the original stewards of this land, known and unknown, all those who have come before us and all those who will come after. And from this field, we go ahead and we travel to our source self and simultaneously our center self. Within our source self, the timeless flame of our origin, we activate our higher self, the source that created us. And we just feel the presence of our higher self in this moment with us. Perhaps feeling that relationship that we have to grace, to the grace that lives within us. We might begin to feel the spirit, the emanation of the divine feminine that lives within each and every one of us. It might come in the feeling of a memory of a person, of an essence, or it might just be in the yielding and the surrendering into this particular moment, allowing everything to be exactly as it is. And on our next breath, in our own time and rhythm, we'll breathe right into our belly, the cauldron of our digestion, the sacred seat of our power, our womb space. And here we'll allow ourselves permission in this moment, throughout this day, to be here now. To allow ourselves to be with the journey of every emotion that comes into us, trusting in our ability to navigate it, honoring every emotion as a journey, and allowing it to pass all the way through us without needing to bypass it, to rush it, to transmute and change it quickly, but trusting in the intelligence of the emotions, the energy in motion that moves through us. And here from this unified field that we've grown together, as above, so below, as within, so without, we call forward our intentions today. We align with the highest and greatest good. We choose the highest and greatest choice for ourselves, for one another, and for every living being throughout all time, throughout all space. And here we're going to call forward our meta prayer from this place of unified presence, this group soul that we've activated, the living intelligence of air that now ripples out of us, emanates through us, and comes right into our beverage that we consume today. So you might like to repeat after me inwardly or silently to yourself, or you may just like to listen. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May my heart be open. May I live with grace. And now, calling in our circle, our temple space. May we be safe. May we be peaceful. May our hearts be open. May grace move through our community. Taking another deep breath, cleansing breath. As now we consider all beings throughout all time and all space. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. May all hearts be free from suffering. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. May all beings be free, and may grace guide our world. Taking another deep breath in and out. Taking a sip of our prayer and ingesting it into our bodies. And now, as we prepare to close our space, we'll rub our hands together and we'll share this peace that we have created with one another into our space, into the tapestry of our shared reality for all beings that encounter this message in their own divine time. And just feeling the graciousness of emitting grace out into the field. Sending out love, sending out prayers, sending out well wishes and blessings for all beings. On the count of 3, we'll blast this into our space. 1, 2, 3. Feeling this energy and then receiving that energy, giving that energy to our puppies, giving that energy to our bodies, giving this energy that we so graciously give back into our chalice, remembering that as we give, we also receive. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your grace. May you move forward in grace. May all beings feel free and remember that grace that lives within them today and always. Namaste.